Hello and welcome to the Unofficial Controller Podcast, your weekly gaming podcast. Episode 22, Mario Kart, the Retrospective. With me, George, and as always joined by Tom. Blue Shell to my Blue Movie. How's it going?
I'm okay, mate. How are you?
I am very well, thank you.
Excellent.
Before I ask you what you've been playing and then you probably forget to ask me what I've been playing, it's time to put out an all-points bulletin because we got dragged into Lord Ponsonbury's office this week.
It's not good news, is it?
It's not good news, no. Lord Ponsonbury's threatened to axe the show.
Yeah. He's a titan of industry, isn't he? And he's not happy.
He's not happy. He's seen that we've wasted an awful lot of his money on a mediocre podcast.
Well, we are up to good, according to the fans. We're now from mediocre to good.
Yes.
We're just a good podcast.
We're a good podcast.
We tried explaining that to him and he wasn't happy with it.
No, he just said rookie numbers. He slapped Tom in the face, left a red welt on his face.
He did.
Mumsy wasn't happy.
Yep.
Caused some emotional family tears, didn't it? And tears, drama. So we made a promise to Lord Ponsonbury that we would unite the Unofficial Controller army.
Unite the banners.
We would stand tall, shoulder to shoulder. We would look to our fan base and ask you to like and subscribe wherever you find this show. But we're talking about the podcasting hosts. We want to have a run at the iTunes top 10 again, Tom, don't we?
We do, yeah.
We
feel it's time.
We got close, but we didn't slip in, did we?
No.
No.
Just fell a little bit short.
13th, that's not bad.
That's a good crack.
That's the 12th least popular show in the UK.
Yeah.
Not doing bad for ourselves.
Yeah.
But we think we can do the top 10 with your help. But the thing is, as we've worked out, we need extra listens. We need extra subscribes. Now we know the Unofficial Controller army goes out there, puts things in their bios on Instagram, push out pages, do all that. We appreciate that. Keep doing it, but do it some more. We need to almost quadruple the Unofficial Controller army.
We do.
We want to be able to mount nighttime raids with the Unofficial Controller army. We want enough of you out there that we can do daring commando raids and all sorts of crazy stuff. It also means there's going to be more people to play with on the social media.
Yeah, exactly.
More people to go, my goodness, that's a great haul in listener Stingray.
We've already seen like fan interaction with all the listeners interacting with each other, which is great. Seeing comments on other people's pages.
Let me ask you this question, Tom. Can you ever have enough friends?
No.
Then tell everybody. Bring them here. Tom, what's the main message? We don't charge for this show.
Like, subscribe, leave a review on whatever your podcast format is.
And then share the hell out of any of our pictures or pictures that you make of us, all over your social media. Lower yourself. Almost enter the skin trade. That's what we're looking for. Anyway, Tom.
Enough grovelling.
Pick your begging bowl up. We've done right by Lord Ponsonbury. We've kind of left it there for the fans. Lord Ponsonbury needs to see some traction for his investment.
Can I tell Herr Crowther to take the shotgun away from me now?
Yes.
Excellent. Good. Bye.
Herr Crowther, gamekeeper of the Ponsonbury estate, exit stage left with his shotgun now broken over his left arm. No chance of that going off, but it was closed. And aimed threateningly at Tom's rather large Egon-like barnet. Tom.
Right.
For the wave, that wave of new listeners, before we...
That we'll get next week.
That we'll get... Well, every week we pick up a wave, but we won't bore them with that, or we've already bored them, so it's already become part of the show.
It has, yeah.
And next week we want to be here, so we need some fan action. We need some fan action, because Ponsonbury, if he pulls that cable out the wall, there's no going back in.
The green screen's gone.
All of it's gone.
Yeah.
Mumsy's out on the streets, earning money the way she used to. And we're not playing the latest gaming consoles anymore. We're playing like a third-rate, hokey-cokey. It looks like a Game Boy, but when you turn it on, you're very disappointed. Sort of 50-in-1 thing that you get from Skeggy, thinking it's going to be amazing, and it's worse than a video of CFAX from 20 years ago. Tom, how does this show break down? What happens first?
So first up, I'm going to ask you what you've been playing.
No, first we do a great big long begging section.
Oh, we're doing that every week now.
Why?
Why not?
Until Ponsonbury's appeased, I daren't not.
Okay.
He's hit me once before, and he also confiscated some toys. You don't want to see a grown man cry.
No. So, yeah, we do the...
After the begging.
After the begging.
Yes.
What have you been playing? We then move into the news.
Yes.
And then the feature.
Yes.
Then the listeners' Stingray.
The number one part of the show. We ought to do some more begging at listener Stingray, because that's when most of them arrive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll do some more begging then.
We'll do begging at listener Stingray.
And then we close out with the new releases, a.k.a. Stingray's Boot.
Then what?
Oh, we do... If we're
It's only the 21st episode, Tom. You know.
If we're polite and remember,
Nothing's
we ask each other
changed
what
here.
we're hoping to play.
Yes. We're hoping that you will find almost a Pavel's dog type scenario with the format of the show. Although we're willing to change it if you don't like it. But I think for now, we'll keep it as it is.
We still really want to have some feedback on if there's any particular part you really enjoy the show and if there's any you don't like. We're not going to be offended. We'd rather make a show for you, the fans. Well, if the fans speak, your favourite part of the show will go.
It's their show. It's their show. We've said this all along. Yeah. We're just custodians of it.
Exactly.
What other
please
third-rate podcast, Tom, interacts with the fans like we do?
None.
This is not an ego trip, is it?
Zero.
It's the community. If only we were a bit better with tech, we could record sound bites and then play the listeners instead of me putting on a voice.
Done an ample job.
Well,
some of that in the past.
One day we might work towards that.
Yeah. Right, let's move on. What have you been playing this week?
I have fallen deeper into a Yakuza black hole than I thought possible.
I thought you were going to say Minecraft, so I'm quite relieved.
I've not played that.
Good.
Oh. And then I ask him what he's been playing. It's Red Dead Redemption 2 and Overwatch, but that's absolutely fine. I've played Minecraft 3 times and I'm banned. I've been playing more Yakuza. Can't get enough of it. The good thing about Yakuza Kiwami is that they've actually... as I've said many times, I've never played Yakuza 2 on PS2. But I don't think this extra Majima story that we're getting now, Goro Majima, was in the original. But they've done this extra set of hour-long chapters for the character with the eye patch.
Yeah.
Do you remember me talking about him before?
Yeah. I've seen him on many
And there
screenshots.
was some sort of unanswered questions from Yakuza 0.
Right.
But now these start to answer themselves a bit more. Very, very cool.
Very
Although, I thought Yakuza 0 was set in the 80s. And some of the things that happen in this one, which I think set in 2005 or 6,
Yeah.
no one's aged. Maybe one of the listeners can get in touch with me and explain to me what I'm missing here. But no one's aged. All the shops look the same, either in the 80s or now. People barely have aged at all. Like there's a character that I've just met in the second chapter, the end of the second chapter of the Goro Majima story, who looks exactly like she did in Yakuza 0. Mm-hmm. So was that in the 80s or not? Because I'm confused.
Maybe not. Maybe not.
Anyway, I'm looking forward to getting that finished and then downloading. I don't know whether to play my PS3 copy of Yakuza 3 in this saga of Yakuza that I'm putting everyone through and myself, or whether I should download this new version for the PS4.
Treat yourself.
I have some news for the fans on that, though. You can only buy... I thought you could get the game separately.
Oh, we discussed this last week, so it's
you
good
can't.
For clarification. So you can't buy them individually.
No.
Got to buy the set.
You buy the set. And I want to buy the physical set as well.
Still good value.
So now I enter... Okay. So
do it.
Over £100 to own the games twice.
If you are as big a fan as you say...
In some cases, 4 times.
I think you're a big enough fan.
I'm getting to be. I'm a bit gutted. I was saying this to someone the other day. When I first sort of got into it, or go back into it, in our local CEX before Finster Games shut it down, there was a Yakuza 6 box set that came with the glass and some coasters and some granite whiskey chillers, granite whiskey stones.
Very nice.
I look back and why didn't I buy that?
I'm actually drinking a Japanese whiskey right now. Suntory.
Well, I'm driving the show, so I'm not willing, once again as a passenger, Tom, You can drink to your heart's content.
He lets me have a good time. He's a good man.
He comes, everything's prepared. He takes the money from Lord Ponsonbury off the mantelpiece. Money I've not been taking because the show's not been earning. And he's drinking expensive Japanese whiskey. And I have to stay sober to drive the show.
You do?
I'll tell you
What's the best
what.
thing about being co-host? Or like the secondary?
Who, I'm the secondary?
No, I'm the co-host.
Oh.
You're like the anchor, like the lead host.
I'm that big heavy weight that just sinks every time he gets deployed.
Anyway.
Tom, it's only right and fair that I ask you, possibly for the last time, what have you been playing?
I have been playing more Fire Emblem Three Houses, about 45 hours in.
Are you happy that your possible final ever, what you've been playing is you talking about Fire Emblem 3, or is there any other games you might want to mention?
Baiting the words out of my mouth. I've been playing Overwatch, and we've got some news coming up about that in the news section.
Oh, that's why you didn't reveal to me that small
Otherwise,
addition.
you would have not allowed me to put it in the script, but it's too late now.
Well, seeing as you've mentioned that, Tom, which one of our hardcore listeners that have made themselves known to us has won a half-eaten pork pie?
Game Boy Matty.
Hopefully Game Boy Matt has developed some front teeth to bite through the thick hide of said half-eaten pork pie.
If not, there's a half box of Italian breadsticks.
His choice.
His choice.
Half-eaten, or the box has been cut in half?
Half-eaten.
Half-eaten as in someone's taken a breadstick and eaten all of it and consumed it, or they've ate half of the breadstick and spat said half-eaten breadstick in the box.
No, it's been digested.
It's been digested.
So that the box as well.
Pooped.
Anyway, we're rambling.
You're confusing me and you're rambling. Is that all you've been playing?
Yeah.
Well done, Game Boy Matty, on winning that small half-eaten pork pie.
Yeah, not had much time this week, so I'm looking forward to my pickup on Friday or Saturday, which we'll get to in the releases. But just Overwatch and
we might not
this week.
There's only 50p in the electric meter.
Is there?
Mm-hmm. Listen, listeners, you came here for some sort of gaming news. Goodness knows why you came here, but we've scoured the very darkest region of the internet to bring you the latest stories. I won't read that, but I will read that. It's time to remember how good you used to be at games. The Collection, titled Disney Classic Games, Aladdin and the Lion King, has been announced. It has some neat features in addition to the ports themselves. Multiple versions of the game will be included, with the exception of the SNES version of Aladdin, it being a different game and all. You'll be able to skip to any part of the game you like, and then hop into the action. Tom, good feature for the not very good gamers like you and I. A rewind feature that will like, instantly retry tricky sections too. And they talk of a museum mode with concept art. There's even a rare playable trade demo, which must have been at E3 or something, it's included for good measure. The collection will be available digitally and physically at retail on 29th of October for, at the moment, we've only got $29, but I'm sure it'll either be £29. And that's available, as far as I'm aware, for PS4, Xbox and Switch. Tom, thoughts on that?
Yeah, so this started out as a rumour today, and as of course we've always got a finger on the pulse, and we...
In the pulse.
In the pulse. We clarified now that it's had an official reveal trailer with all this info. I'm a bit wary of that price point.
Is it now that we announced James, the work experience boy, who's coming in and doing the news and the scripts now?
No, because he might not be around next week.
Oh, no, I haven't told him that.
No.
Okay, keep James under wraps.
Young James.
He's done well though there, because he's gone from rumour, he's stepped it up and he's backed it up with facts.
Yeah,
it's one of the reasons why he got the show. And he can type.
So we've discussed before the difficulty of the Lion King. I think that rewind or fast forward feature is really good. But will it take a bit of the playability out of it? Of like, one more go, I'll just try and get past that bit where you can just go, I'll just skip that bit.
If they're gamers with your patience, i.e. back in the day they'd have had a guide in every cheap book under town, yes, I'd imagine so. If they show patience and resilience, strength, intestinal fortitude, they will continue without using this
cheap
nasty
feature.
Little rewind and fast
but
forward
that's
feature.
The price point is very steep, I think, for those. Even with those extra features, they're not.
I was going to argue with you that the price was very good.
How much are they on the retro market? Would you know offhand?
Probably about £15 each.
Oh, so not bad.
Then you got to buy the console if you ain't got it.
Yeah.
And this is like a remastered Blu-ray re-release, isn't it? You know, they're very nicely presented. There's the art section. There's the extra.
So they're going to be like a HD image quality. I think
if you imagine if you were just playing a Mega Drive on RGB, I don't imagine it's going to be any better than that. It's not probably even that possible to upscale it much further than that.
Cool. Are you going to pick it up? You own both, I think, don't you, on Mega Drive? So.
Yeah. In fact, a good message out there on Insta today was, what other game would you like to have seen included? And I was racking my brain to think, what could they have included? And the only two I could come up with was, actually, there's 3 other Disney games. There was Pinocchio, Toy Story, and Jungle Book.
Story one was cool.
There was Jungle Book as well.
Okay.
So if they'd wanted to do a 3-way, but let's face it, the games that are remembered and lauded as being the absolute killer Disney apps back in the day were these 2, weren't they?
I feel like they've done well with that is because you've got the Mega Drive Mini coming out with a great selection of titles, 2 that you'd really want on there, but probably because of licensing issues and such are now going to be available. So good news.
Yeah.
I'll take the next one if that's all right.
Here's the wheel of the show. Just make sure you don't blow over 2 on the breathalyzer, Tom.
Empty your Ashen tray. PlayStation owners feeling a little smug, even though it's been a year. It's time to let the station have a go at Ashen. Coming to PlayStation 4 on 9th of December after it spent a year tied up in exclusivity deals on the Xbox One and PC. And it was easily one of the very best games of 2018. It's a Souls-like, and it makes up, but with a simplistic art style that explores some truly amazing locals.
I don't think you can drink again.
No. You'll build up a community of people and...
Be prepared for the worst show ever. Tom can't even read now.
You'll build up a community of people and structures around your base, while co-op allows you to either team up with the AI or bring along a friend online. It's genuinely an incredible game, and we implore you to look at it. Check it out.
Going forward...
I believe it's coming to Switch as well.
Can you touch your nose?
Yes.
Can you walk in a straight line?
Just.
This is a PG podcast. What are you doing?
It's just like family Christmas.
Let me finish the news. The hardcore listeners in Game Boy Matty don't want to know about your... Oh, God.
Ashen.
It's not just a YouTuber. He's a game as well.
Yeah, it's coming to Switch as well, I believe. No release date as of yet, but...
Ashen, the Minecraft edition.
I got rid of my
Switch.
when that was just on the realms of coming out, so I'm glad I'll be able to pick that up.
Exclusive. Well, great timing as always, Tom. Best game on the Xbox that they've brought out on the Xbox One, and you sell your console just a couple of days before that comes out. Classy. What am I going to think about that? Oh, dear. Another Souls-like game. Add it to the pile. I'm not interested.
It doesn't sound as hard.
I'm not interested.
Okay, we'll move on then.
I'd rather go and play a proper Dark Souls game than play this faux wannabe. Although I did see it got some good reviews.
It is good, mate.
I'm not too keen on the art style. I think when people decide to go for that simplistic route, it's because they can't be bothered. Then tell you it's art.
Strong words.
Emperor's New Closer Games is Ashen. You play nice. Ubisoft isn't too impressed with how Steam's doing business these days, at least according to Chris Early, the publisher's vice president for partnership and revenue. Speaking to the New York Times, he's not the only voice critical of the monolithic digital retailer either. Chris Early, I tell you what, bet he never makes it to work on time. While the Epic Games Store might draw a lot of flack from users in comment boxes across the internet, the sentiment from within the industry seems to be that Valve's steep 30% revenue cut and hands-off approach isn't cutting it. While Ubisoft still sell many of their games via Steam, there are some titles such as The Division 2 and Anno 1800 which are available only through Ubisoft's own digital store. Uplay, where the publisher naturally claims 100% of the takings, probably quite rightfully so, and the Epic Games Store, which takes a significantly lower 12% split of the profits. Of course, there's more to this conflict than just Steam versus Epic. Even with major publishers like EA and Ubisoft able to lend their clout to one side or the other, they have their own ambitions. Don't forget EA's store, Origin, already offering Origin Access, a monthly subscription service giving access to almost all of their games. Ubisoft are rolling out their own competitor, Uplay Plus, this September 3rd. All the big players are now trying to carve out their own niches. Where's this going to stop, Tom? Is it going to end with me having subscriptions to every major developer and paying like £100 a month?
I started sort of seeing this a couple of years ago where you could access certain things or you could only play certain things if you had an account. You didn't have to pay for it, it was like a free account. And it's just another irritation of signing into something, them having your details. Obviously now moving on to being able to stream all their games and such. I suppose if you're a big fan of Ubisoft or a big fan of EA games, it's quite good that you can just go, right, I'm just going to spend a lot of my money on paying for that service. But I'm not sold on the idea. I'd rather just with stick as it is.
Especially when you can go down Finster Games or other gamer outlets and get some of Ubisoft's and EA's older games for less than 25p.
Exactly. Especially with, like, obviously your long list of EA Sports games throughout the years. It's
or your Assassin's Creed games.
Yeah.
Assassin's Creed 4000 that we're on now. That's what do I think of that? Like I say, anything I think about that is this whole, will they only be happy when I'm paying £400 a month to have a subscription going in town? It's not sustainable then, is it?
No. Gets very expensive.
I don't know what to think about that. You know, some of it's to be welcome, but at the same time,
as always, us as gamers will vote with our wallets. So I guess we'll see.
Oh, that's right. Well, did we miss anything?
Yes, we did. Hold the press.
Oh, God.
Hold the press.
I was hoping you'd forgotten. If this is Overwatch news, I'm going to ask Ponsonbury just to pull the plug out of the wall.
So, this week, I was scrolling through the news, doing my research for the show.
Ponsonbury's listening.
And I come across an Overwatch carry case.
Oh, God. I'm sorry.
For the Switch. So the rumour is, there's an official carry case. Why would you have an official carry case for a game that's not on there?
To apologise to the fans and let them have something to show that they like Overwatch if they can only afford that third-rate handheld console.
Oh. Anyway, Jeff from the Overwatch team, he said there's another big announcement for September for Overwatch, so fingers crossed.
We don't really make enough of our exclusives that we get, do we, really? We've wasted a few of these. Switch Lite coming in July. Get in the backpack. Get in the back.
Ori and the Blind Forest.
I don't think that was that great.
Oh, the fans loved it.
Oh, did they? Well, now that we've Okay, pour yourself another one. See if I care. Tom, I'll cut back to preamble, may I?
Yes.
Did we miss anything? Do you have an opinion or take on the news that we missed? If so, Tom, tell them. How would they get in contact and let us know that we're complete drivelling idiots?
You can direct messages on Instagram or Twitter, and you can also contact us on questions@unofficialcontrollerpodcast.com.
I like that.
Short and sweet.
Well, we arrive at this part of the show that we like to think that most of you tune in for, and this week we're doing a Mario Kart retrospective feature. This week's feature is a discussion around the history of the Mario Kart series. As always, you guys got in touch to share those treasured memories of Nintendo's iconic racing game, and we're including those to add a real, personal touch to this story. Heard that before anywhere? It's the feature ramble, isn't it? So, as always, listeners, to do this, we need to time travel, and we utilise the Burgundy Maestro Turbo with a murky past and even worse, green luminous striping. Nearly tripped over my words. A little Ponsonbury watching from a high tennis umpire's chair is enough to make anyone nervous.
It's okay. Pull it together. We're good. Let's get in the turbo anyway.
He just keeps waving his thumb like an emperor, a Roman emperor. It's like, is it up? Is it down? Or what's happening? So we need to go down to floor punchline, Tom, because normally as we exit the lift, you make a really duff and terrible joke. One imagines you probably ain't got one this week because we're ad-libbing the intro. Fourth wall smashed. Ponsonbury, he's looking at putting his thumb down. We better save this. So, Tom, we'll hop in the lift. Could you push the button for me, as always, sir? Oh. I think it's the same song it plays as every week. I think Lord Ponsonbury only gave us a certain amount of budget for this lift sound. It's already stopped.
Well,
or has it?
I took him up with the idea of having an 80s soundtrack in there to do with the time travel thing, but he wouldn't have it.
Huh. You've spent all his money on this
have.
expensive Japanese whiskey. So here we are, Floor Punchline, or the other place where we store the Maestro Turbo. Tom, that rather naff green aerial you've added, is that part of the time travel circus or just for the look?
Yeah. That harnesses the lightning.
I thought you'd answered a question that needed an answer of like yes or no with just a straight yeah there. It was a little bit confusing. But so that harnesses the lightning that we don't use to time travel or so far haven't yet in the script.
We will do.
At some point in time, he's got this weird 1,000 miles.
If we happen to go back to the Old West and we need like a different source of power, it will come from lightning.
Have you ever heard the phrase jump the shark?
No.
You want to probably look it up. Now, let's climb in, take a sip out of the out-of-date McDonald's Coke on the floor, and let's go. Tom, hit the blast process button.
What's blast processing?
So what's blast processing do?
Oh, God.
Whoa.
That, as they say, we must be getting slightly more hardy to the time travel, Tom, because the first time you spewed up, but even though you've drank a small brewer's worth, you're holding on to your liquor well.
Distillery.
Listeners, welcome to the second one-man show. Tom's getting very slowly inebriated, and it's
I'm
not...
shook up for life after that shotgun threat from Herr Crowther.
Well, Ponsonbury means it, so you best book your ideas and make this the best show you've ever done. So here we are, something a little different and dangerous considering the timeline. You see, we've arrived in my teenage bedroom. Luckily, I'm out, and all magazine and contrabands have been hidden in the secret place. It's the end of January 1993, and young me has been dragged to his grandparents, so me and Tom have come back to enjoy Mario Kart fresh as the day it was born.
Oh, you were taken away on the day it came out.
I believe well, there was always the weekend trip to grandmother's. We've timed this to come in. We've got time. Don't go in the secret place.
I won't. I'll leave that drawer alone.
Drawer. Rip the whole floorboards up. Releasing in Japan in August 1992, September 1992 in the USA, and patient as ever, we in Europe got our mitts on it on the 21st of January 1993. Glimmering there in its blue PAL box next to the iconic SNES. But where did all this begin? Why would Nintendo make a kart racing game? Shameless cash-in? Frivolous waste of the plumber's screen time? Cynics everywhere. But then we got to play it, and wow. Let's look into the first game. Produced...
Sorry, mate.
I just thought... I didn't think you could read.
I was going to have a bash at those. With my Japanese whiskey, I feel like I could pronounce those Japanese names.
You can barely even finish your own sentences that you're thinking up in your mind, so I don't know why you think you might be able to read this.
Let's look into the first game, produced by Shigeru Miyamoto and directed by Tadashi Sugiyama and Hideki Kono.
I'll tell you one thing about that Japanese whiskey, Tom. It allows you to pronounce Japanese names better, doesn't it?
We should use it all the time.
Only... Maybe
for
you should...
Japanese-based games.
Maybe you should just silently get wasted in the background. I host the show, and then whenever I need to pronounce one of these things, we wheel you in a little bit like Retro Gamer Thomas.
Excellent idea.
I tell you what, I know you're going to be like, what are you doing? No, I'm sober, and I've got some important news to pass on. Did you know the Retro Gamer Thomas had someone pretending to be him on Instagram? They wrote their name, Retro Gamer Thomas, and at the end they slipped I think it was the number 7 in to their name. And you know when Retro Gamer Thomas, he's one of those loyal hardcore listeners that in every time he does a write-up, he puts our little bio in as well. This faker copied like 7 of his last posts, including the ones that have been in Stingray's boot, and copied all the blurb as well, put that underneath, and were passing themselves off as everyone's favourite console muncher, Retro Gamer Thomas.
He is a serial console killer who has... He's made a copycat killer.
He's a copycat. Tom, have another wet. That's the best thing you've ever come up with. Retro Gamer Thomas has got a copycat, inspired a copycat killer. Another console cannibal in the village.
We shouldn't give this guy too much credit though, because we don't want him becoming bigger than the original.
That's the second best thing you've ever said on the show.
Let's move on because the fans are here to hear about Mario Kart.
Yes, tell me more about this superb game.
It transpires after the launch game F-Zero for the SNES. The Nintendo boys were looking to find a way to display two ships on screen at once. Development started well, but the complex architecture of the F-Zero tracks led to it not being able to run well. So they started to work on simpler tracks.
Well, the idea to create racing modes of the game had been present from the beginning. Battle mode was developed from the desire to create a one-on-one mode where victory was not determined simply by competing for track position.
The game did not start out as a Mario game, as we said, and the first rendition featured a generic man in overalls in the car. The team decided that characters 3 heads tall would best suit the design of the karts. They did not decide on incorporating Mario series characters into the game until 2 or 3 months after the start of development. The choice by development team, when observing how one kart looked to another driving past it, decided to see what it would look like with Mario in
my mind, I have that. Have you seen that meme where Luigi drives by?
Yeah, giving him the death stare. Yeah, that's from Mario Kart 8.
I wondered if that was quite what the effect they were going for in the SNES days.
Probably so, yeah.
Carry on. Where were you?
Thinking that having Mario in the kart looked better than previous designs, the idea of a Mario-themed racing game was born.
And right from the get-go, they knew they had a hit with this one, and the magazines totally agreed with an aggregate score of 93.60%, averaged across many publications. The magazines raved about the revolutionary graphical techniques, Mode 7, etc., and raved about the gameplay. A seeming perfect storm of cute looks and killer gameplay. I'm completely sober, Tom, and I can fall over my words, shake of a hat. Let's hear from some of our loyal fans back here. So it's 1993. Road to Thinner Me must have his cap on backwards and a chupa chup in his mouth. What's he got to say?
Road to Thinner Me. Here is my memory. Back in the 90s, me and a bunch of my friends would gather at a friend's house and we'd play Super Mario Kart for the SNES all night long.
Nice
as many of us did back then.
Yeah, I mean, our little village, it was all about battle mode.
No, yeah. So I'll just take that for a minute. That's what I loved. I didn't have it on SNES. I didn't have a SNES, but I used to go to a friend's a lot, and he had.
Was he a bigger boy?
No, he was the same age. He just played the bigger boys console, the SNES.
No, the Mega Drive had to be the bigger boys console.
A debate for another time.
Blood.
So yeah, he used to love having the races, and I was like, oh, can't we play battle mode? Battle mode again, battle mode. And we just constantly play battle mode.
Yeah,
and if he beat me, I'd be like, okay, you get to play.
I had to bike ride 5 miles to get multiplayer Mario Kart action.
Really?
Yeah, and did religiously. It's all right, when you do the Grand Prix, but the battle mode in the multiplayer, even for me, was where that
hurts
game.
My eyes if I try and play it now. It's very fast. Like,
put the drink down.
Yeah.
Who
else we got?
Comic Pictures. That's the AKA of Adam the Artist on Etsy. / Comic Pictures, no space. Makes sense. Nearly had a brain muddle there, but what's he got to say for himself? What was that thing called that the SNES did? It was like Mode 7 or something. First saw it on F-Zero, then Mario Kart had it. Geez, oh, that was cool, wasn't it? I spent many hours playing what we called Mario Kart with my mates. Back then, it was the forefront of multiplayer racing, unlike now. It's fun for sure, to be honest. Some of the big boy games make it seem kind of like it's lost its edge. Not its shine, though, and I have to say it's definitely still fun, especially playing with the kiddies. But it's the kind of game that I would ever... Is it the kind of game I'd ever play on my own? Nah. Funny how nostalgia makes brilliant fuel for racing games of the past.
Clever wordplay there.
Very clever. So clever I couldn't even get it out. The game was a hit, and even to this day features on top games of top games. I'm going to put my teeth in. I have no excuse because I'm sober as a judge. Features in the top of all-time game charts.
It certainly does.
That was hard to say.
But what did this racing game with a Nintendo mascot do for gaming? Well, it started a whole genre of mascot racers, like the likes of Crash and Sonic getting in on the action.
And don't forget Street Racer, which released for the SNES Mega Drive and PlayStation and, well, seemingly every format known to Stingray.
And that's a lot.
But once the dust had settled and the copycats had died down, it was down to the Big N to do the difficult second album, further hampered in gaming by the shift to the new hardware. That's never thought of normally, is it? I mean, you know, Sonic managed to squeeze out 3 of his games on the Mega Drive.
Yeah.
And they always had sort of palette and tools to use. Every single time they did one of these Mario Karts, they did one per system. So there's never the chance to refine the product that you've got on that system with a Mario Kart 2 on the SNES, for instance, where they could have worked with what they'd known and refined that product down. They just canned it and moved to the next console iteration.
Yeah. Well, the next one came about with Mario Kart 64. The move to full 3D was the right one, arriving in Japan in 1996 and 1997 in Europe and the US.
Hang on, can I stop you there?
Yeah.
Something's puzzling me. Did you ever play Street Racer?
No, I've never heard of it until now. Definitely not.
Oh, right, okay. I just want to talk about that for a moment because it's a game that I've got on a couple of formats. On the SNES, it uses Mode 7 and it looks very like Mario Kart.
What is the mascot or character?
Google it.
Okay.
It's like a load of it's like the Street Racer. It's like the Street Fighter.
Excuse me.
I think that Ponsonborough is going to sack you if you carry on like this.
I've gone full like the other way. Like
you have,
he
haven't
can't
you?
stop me. I'm going to smash up his.
There's a man
90s.
who's grieving about the end of the Unofficial Controller podcast. And instead
He's
of
got that Jaggy type in the garage.
let me explain to you. Let me just lay down to you what I think he was trying to do. He was trying to give us a little bit of an insight to whip the fans up and whip ourselves up and bring our A game.
Yeah.
You've took it personally and you've walked off. You're like, fine, I'll get wasted then. I don't care about his podcast. What we're meant to do is up our game.
And be more professional.
Be more professional. Keep it together.
Well, let's see how the numbers do next week.
Look at him. Look at him up in the high chair. His thumb is pointing more to down. We've got the rest of the show to get that to a level or up position.
Level is best hope, I think, now.
Well, we are the mediocre show.
Good show.
What was I on about? Yes,
Street
Street
Racer.
Racer. So it was like a cross between Street Fighter and Mario Kart. And on the Mega Drive, on the SNES it used Mode 7 to roll the graphics around and all that. On the Mega Drive, it couldn't do any of that. So they had to use a rolling road and make it more like Outrun.
Oh, right.
So you think you look on the back of the box and they look the same. You get the Mega Drive one home and it's like, oh, that feels a bit wonky. You take the SNES one home and you think, this is a good game. You take the PlayStation one home and it looks completely different again, as does the Saturn one. I think it came out on Game Boy as well. Obviously, It looked very different again.
Yeah.
How many different versions of that game existed?
Might be a hunt for some of our listeners' Stingrays.
Sharaban. He's been to Street Racer Street, and he's got every single copy of Street Racer. Don't let us down.
Do it, Sharaban.
No guts. And if whoever gets it done first wins a signed piece of the script. So if Ozcat wants to be the first person to do that, if Odders wants to be the first, heck, Daddy Zilla's probably got every single copy of it anyway, and he's right now uploading a picture.
And hopefully
to
by the
Stingrays
time
too.
this happens, we might actually have some bumper stickers or key rings, at least.
We were going to give him a piece of this script, something that you've touched, something that you've spilt your expensive whiskey on. Therefore, this page is worth probably 40 quid, $40, 40 euros,
40p.
40 pence. Where did we get to before I went crazy
Mario
about
Kart
Street
64, so we've hit the 3D era.
Was that the right... Moving Mario Kart 64 to full 3D was the right move, arriving in Japan in 96 and 97 to Europe and do you know what, should we start that again?
Don't do that bit because we've already done it. Development started in 1995, being called Mario Kart R.
We're never recording with Ponsonborough in the high chair again.
No, the nerves are too bad.
Too bad.
I thought one drink would be enough to steady me. Just keep going.
One drink probably was.
Yeah.
10 later, I think that effect wears off.
So development started in 1995, being called Mario Kart R, the R standing for rendered, but the R moniker was dropped for Mario Kart 64 to fall in line with the other titles, and then Nintendo had released at that point. So obviously Mario 64, Wave Race 64, Mario Kart 64.
Pilot Wing 64.
Yeah.
Glover 64.
Glover.
While Mario Kart 64 features tracks that are fully rendered in 3D, the game uses billboarding to display the characters and items. Hideko Kono, once again at the helm, stated that while rendering the characters as 3D models was not impossible, the limited processing power of the console would not have allowed all 8 characters to appear on the screen at once. Instead, the characters are composed of pre-rendered sprites that show the characters from various angles to simulate a 3D appearance.
Oh, that's very clever.
But you didn't know that, did you?
I did not.
No.
I never had Mario Kart 64, which was surprising because I owned a 64 and not a SNES. But I probably played more Mario Kart SNES than I ever did 64. I don't even think I played it back in the day.
If we survive this show and have a run of more episodes, and we do a clothing range, that needs to be on there.
What? I've never played Mario Kart 64.
Yeah.
Okay. It makes me not seem like a legit gamer, though. It makes me seem like one of those who poses in front of games and goes, I've played a lot of games.
And you've only got 3 games to stand in front of as well, so you know you're not looking that great. While we're here, let's give some mileage to Doogie McBain. Tom, do you want to do his words justice, or do you want me to have a go?
Doogie McBain says, I grew up with a Mega Drive and a Saturn, so I never really played Mario Kart until the Nintendo 64. Never owned Mario 64, but did enjoy playing it with my mates. My fondest memories are the ones I'm making just now, as my son, Game Boy Matty, is obsessed with Mario, so it's great watching him get enjoyment out of the game that I play myself. I reckon by the time he turns 3, he'll be kicking my butt at multiplayer.
I reckon that Game Boy Matt is probably kicking all our butts already.
Yeah.
The game a hit again, albeit on hardware that didn't sell as well as its forebear, but also performed less well, with an aggregate score of 83. Year to date, it's sold 9.87 million. This includes re-releases from what we can see. Loyal fan of the show, as we call them now, because they've been on more than once. Happy Joysticks has to say, back in the late 90s and early 2000s, I owned a video game store. Stop the presses. This is awesome. Happy Joysticks. Finch the Gamer might
got
just...
some competition in the
big
village.
Competition. I wonder if Happy Joysticks was the name of the store.
Maybe him, Finster, and Stingray can get together and do a bit of a boot sale.
Maybe they could be like the trifecta of gaming. Maybe that trifecta combined. Thing is, how do you enter into a deal with a man that can't talk for fear of implicating himself?
He can write, can't he, just? And Wayne Ray helps him out.
I heard that as soon as he puts pen to paper, it just sort of like sets the paper on fire.
Really?
Yeah, hell yeah. Okay. Don't forget, for Stingray to leave verbal or written evidence would be to implicate himself. That doesn't happen, does it? Anyway, Happy Joysticks. We're just getting over the thrill of you owning a video game store. I had a big screen TV, which was special in those days, and I used to run Mario Kart 64 tournaments on it. I always loved the sounds of everyone competing but having a good time. Now, that is a memory that is worth its weight in gold. We love that sort of stuff on the show.
Yeah, absolutely. Sounds like you put on a good show back in the day.
Ponsonborough stuck his thumb up.
Oh, good.
Let's keep it there. Thank you, Happy Joysticks.
Switching it up again on new hardware. This time Nintendo's little powerhouse would have a go. And they would also mix up the formula a little bit. Here she is, Mario Kart Double Dash, first shown at E3 2001 as a small gameplay clip.
The game implements 2 characters in the kart, hence the name. But all this innovation was due to the ideas running dry? Development this time round was found more difficult. Tom, before we lurch in any further, you've said that you've played the original Mario Kart at a friend's house. You never played Mario Kart 64. Great T-shirt. And development this time round on this one was a little bit more difficult. But switching things up, I presume because you'd gone all in on the GameCube, you had Double Dash.
Nope. Now I'm going to chuck this out there. The N64 and the GameCube had such a vast, good library of games, and obviously N64 especially.
The game, no. There's absolutely no way you can say that they had a vast library
of quality to the point where I didn't feel the need to buy Mario Kart. Whereas we might get to in this, I had Mario Kart on the Game Boy Advance because it was one of the main sort of top tier titles on there. But I felt like with the GameCube and the 64 that there was so much else I wanted to play.
You know, James, he writes the scripts. He only did the main consoles.
That's fine. It doesn't matter.
Thank you, James.
But moving on, I think, especially
Have you played Double Dash?
Yeah, I played it.
Well,
it's
that's a
cool
relief.
idea.
I thought I was going to be one man showing it again.
No.
Drunken man never played Mario Kart, turns up to a podcast and just ad-libs.
The development team struggled in devising gameplay features that would be enjoyed by fans of the series. One of the hardest tasks Chief Director Kayoshi Mizuki was assigned to do was to attract people who had no prior experience with the series. So he decided to make the gameplay as simple as possible.
And I think that's probably noticeable in Double Dash, isn't it? It's a very pick-up-and-play game.
Yeah, it certainly is. Producer Shigeru Miyamoto presented the staff with a variety of options, which they in turn would have to incorporate into the game the best way possible. Miyamoto let the team decide which graphics they wanted to use without restrictions. People often forget by this point Miyamoto was all over Nintendo's portfolio, offering ideas and facing them such as Star Fox on the...
Well, let's talk about that for a minute there, Tom, because I think at this point in time, Miyamoto had established himself as a legend.
Yeah.
But he seems sort of obsessed with rewriting everybody else's game, and Dinosaur Planet there is the example, where it's like, you know your dinosaur game, Rare? Like, yeah. No, that's Star Fox now, make it happen. It didn't really add anything to the game, and he's walking around, you know, he walks in, I've got a good idea, he just throws it at the Mario Kart team. It's like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
You know, yes, he's respected, but he's walking around being given such freedom to literally
Not always a good thing.
No. Was this... Do you think is that show through in the GameCube? Is he got his hands in too many pies?
I love Star Fox Adventures, going off the subject of Mario Kart quickly, but it'd be interesting to see if Dinosaur Planet would have been fondly remembered as Banjo or Conkers or a lot of the other Rare big hitters. So, yeah.
Oh, that's a solid point. And we'll have to maybe look into this Dinosaur Planet flim-flom on another episode. This controversial sequel fared slightly better with an average score of 87 and sold somewhere in the region of 4 million units. But where now, Tom? To the land of motion control. That's where. Let's get the team back together with Miyamoto and Kono back once again, although in producer and general producer roles.
Presentations of the motion controls would be front and centre, and we think they got this right. The game was also designed around a wheel accessory, designed to be light for long playtimes and designed to fit in with other official accessories. The wheel has been a hit here in the bunker, and we have loads of them.
The game was the first in the series to feature BMX motorbikes as drivable vehicles, an idea which Kono proposed since Double Dash out of his own passion for extreme sports, but was rejected due to seemingly bizarre image of Mario riding a bike. Few things I want to talk about there. Motion controls on the game. You've played this one. Have you played Mario Kart Wii?
Yeah, I have. Yeah, the wheel works really well. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're shocked. I've played that one.
The wheel is cool, and I think it adds a little bit of something.
How does it... Because I've never played it with 4 players with the wheel. Does it get a bit too chaotic?
No.
No, the motion controls still handle it?
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, I've not seen an issue with that. There's 4 screaming
Excellent.
children jumping around, smacking
cool.
wheels around their heads. So,
Yeah.
Tom, it's time to defrost the cryo chamber and wheel in our longest-serving fan, the Barber Who Games.
Barber Who Games.
Slap him in the microwave, hit defrost, Tom. What's he got to say?
Being a PlayStation fan growing up, I ended up missing a lot of the early games in the franchise. Most of my early memories come from game nights with friends back in the day. Other than that, the most of my early Mario Kart experience came from the handheld games, notably with Mario Kart DS. I don't know how many car trips and bus rides were spent playing that game almost non-stop. It's a good point there. The GBA one I was on about. I do remember being at college and having that, and then convincing other people to get a Game Boy Advance to play Tony Hawk and Mario Kart.
I was in the forces at the time.
You were, yeah.
And I was away with a Game Boy Advance.
Yeah. Still didn't have a backlit screen. Crazy.
No. And me and this lad, we spent hours on it. And I think it was Bowser Castle 1 that we decided was going to be our time trial jam.
Had some really good courses.
Really good game. And he would play for a minute, and then he'd be like, right, I beat your time, and you'd look at it and be like, oh my God, I thought I'd pulled the stops out last time,
Yeah.
and he's just beat me by half a second. Then you would have a go, and you'd beat him by a tenth of a second. Then he would take it back and beat that by, and it just went back and forth and back and forth. Some of my best gaming memories are Mario Kart and a GBA. Time trial as well.
Yeah.
Who thinks that's fun?
I think it really pushed the GBA hardware as well. It looked great.
It looked really good. It looked better than the SNES version because it had,
definitely,
it had better faux 3D and Mode 7 effects. And when your character sort of scrolled round, it did look legit. It was more Mario Kart 64 than it was SNES Mario Kart.
So moving on, this was the 6th installment in total, even though we are focusing on the games on the main consoles. Not sure how you can bottle success, but Nintendo certainly have a knack for it.
Okay, so this one didn't perform as well critically with 82% average, but bam, those sales numbers, 37.2 million. Not only making it the best... Now, sit down for a fact, Tom. Not only making it...
I'm all ears.
Not only making it the best, second best Mario game of all time based on sales, but the number one racing game ever.
Wow, those crazy numbers. I suppose it helps
Look at
that
me. I am the king of facts, and I will bring you fact fire.
That is
the number one
excellent fact.
racing game genre, number one racing game of all time, Mario Kart and the Wii. Let's just be sure.
No Gran Turismo.
That quantity
no
is
Project
not
Gotham,
a sign of quality.
no Forza.
Nothing.
Mario Kart.
Mario Kart.
So, Wii U Mario Kart, which it shares with the Switch.
Mario Kart 8, as I call it, the greatest hits of Mario Kart.
Incorporating all the best elements to this point, this really is the apex of Mario Kart game. Simplicity on first play, with deep levels of gameplay hidden away beneath the surface. Mario Kart 8 new features included anti-gravity racing, in which certain parts of the track can allow players to drive on walls and up ceilings. During these sections, players can bump into other racers or special bumpers to trigger a spin boost, which gives them extra speed. So we wind ourselves back to the current time. Let's have a look at how this game has fared critically and financially.
Well, with an average rating of 92, Tom, means the game hasn't been this well loved since its first title. 8.44 million units sold, so it's also a very good way to bring us full circle.
To me, it is the best one. Obviously,
having played none of them, he declares the latest one the best.
Like a true hipster.
Absolutely. He's got the moustache. He's got the whiskey. I tell you what. Let's bring in the CEO of Finster Games, Finster Gamer. It's been nearly 20 years since I've played Mario Kart, so I don't think I could add anything informative to the discussion. But thanks for making me aware of the mobile one coming out. Just went on the Play Store and pre-registered. Tom, what's your thoughts on this new mobile version coming out?
Oh, it's good to hear someone sort of talk about that, because it was announced this week it'll be coming out, I think, was it the 25th of September?
Yeah, I think that's right.
And I was reading it's going to be able to control with one finger, doing all the controls on the phone.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's basically that Mario Kart, Mario jumping
game. The Mario Run, yeah.
It's
free to play as well, with obviously microtransactions or in-game purchases.
£500,000 to actually get the full game.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to do well, isn't it? Mario Kart on a mobile, it's what people have wanted for a long time.
Do you want to top up your drink one last time, and then we'll do last orders at the Wagon and Horses? Because before we end out the show,
yes,
we've got a host of loyal fans that ended up coming just as the door closed for a lock-in. So who's the first one on the list?
Through
Tom?
those. Are we going to do Tech Mike before we get to that, or are we
Tech
keeping
Mike,
that for
I'll
the
tell
end?
you what, while you're busy working around with your phone, I'll do the first person at the bar, and that's Eslo and Midna. First time I played Mario Kart was on the SNES in the 90s. I was playing against my girlfriend's 8-year-old brother. I was about 20. I relentlessly made sure I beat him every time because he was an annoying little so-and-so. I never let him win. It was very important to make sure he knew who the bigger boy was.
Oh.
Big fan of the show, Esler and Midna. No Mercy is their sign-off. Who have you got up next?
I've got Game Boy Matty chiming in to go along with his dad. Mario Kart is the best. Me and my dad play it on the Switch mostly, but I've had a go on the mini SNES too. So much fun. Can't wait for the mobile version. Mum better keep her gossiping to a minimum so I can play it.
Game Boy Matty, he's very acidic towards his mumsy there, but we'll let it go because he's one of the stars of the show. Who else have we got here? Let's not forget him, Tom. How could we? He's out on a good behaviour bond because PCSO Ross Kemp's not found any nibbled electrics in his back bedroom where he's got retro gamer Thomas living. I had a Mega Drive back then and my best friend had a Super Nintendo. He told me he had a kart racing game. I was very underwhelmed. Boy, was I wrong. Such an addictive game and an original idea. Plus, with the way they made it look 3D was incredible. I couldn't believe the graphics. We were playing it for months and still play today in all its different versions. I've played other Mario Kart racing games, and although I have really enjoyed the last two Sonic racing games, it's Nintendo and Mario Kart that are top dog when it comes to kart racing. I fancy a nibble on a... Oh dear, he's relapsed. I fancy a little nibble on a Super FX chip now. Well, let's reattach the face mask before he does something he'll regret.
Yeah.
Signal to PCSO Ross Kemp to wheel Retro Gamer Thomas out. He said his piece. We don't want him too tempted, do we?
We don't. Next up, Odders UK. I was initially taken with Mario Kart on the SNES as I'm not the biggest fan of racing games. However, I quickly realised how good and accessible it was, and I've been an avid fan ever since. Anyone can pick it up and play. It's managed to get better with each sequel. You keep thinking, how can they possibly improve on it? But with each sequel, they do. Fair point.
Okay, and before we finish there and head to our final fan for the last word, which is going to be this week Tech Mike Reviews, Retro Collector Ray chimes in. Some of my best memories as a kid are attached to this game. The countless nights staying up with mates playing Winner Stays On to passing on the legacy of Mario Kart and the SNES to both my lads. It's still a game I reach for. As for the mobile, I can't wait for it as long as it doesn't become a pay-to-win advanced type of game. Can't wait for the podcast, guys. Retro Collector Ray, thank you for your loyal
thanks
support.
for the feedback.
Some solid points there. It's still a favourite even to this day, probably making it the best Mario Kart. You don't have an opinion? You're slurring and looking at the floor. Let's end out the episode. Well, let's end out the feature. Been a good ride, and man, it's been fun, just like Mario Kart should be. But what will the new mobile version be like? Can we hope for a classic? Let's end with a loyal fan. Tech Mike Reviews. This series is what defined the kart racing genre, and frankly is the only so success from the genre. They have managed to keep each game in the series feeling fresh. The mobile game is no different and looks to bring some new features to the series. My only worry is microtransactions and how they might disturb the gameplay. Now that's something... Now we're all the way back here in the future. We've left the secrets underneath the bed where they were meant to be. We've left the room sacrosanct, my teenage bedroom. We've come back to modern times.
I think...
Microtransactions, like... Why don't they just make a good Mario Kart game? Let us buy it for $14.99.
Yeah.
Or even $29.99 if it's good enough.
Yeah.
And play the game like normal people. Why do they feel the need to do a free and then microtransact?
It's like the ongoing profit, isn't it? I just think, like, you make a good point there. It's almost like receiving a demo, playing this free-to-play. Do it as a demo and trial it, and then say you can buy the full game for this price, like you just said, is the better way to do it. It's nonsense.
If the game was good enough and it was $15.99, which I don't think's out the way.
I think. Sorry, I'll just cut in with this. They're aiming at obviously children who are gonna have shorter attention spans. So trying to. I think if they go to their mum or dad,
I don't think kids have got shorter attention. I think that's a myth. My kids will watch a 4-hour movie, not a blink.
Yeah, but would they watch a 4-hour movie again?
Probably.
The same one?
Yeah.
Okay, well, the point I'm trying to make is, if they go to their mum and dad and say, please can I have this Mario Kart game, it's £20, they're going to go, is he going to be bored of that in a week and then he's going to want another £20 game, or do we let him pay £1 or £2 to buy a few more tracks and see if he goes off it, and then on to the next one. Boom.
Thing is, if you make a mobile game and make it so it is that throwaway, it's only going to be treated as throwaway.
Yeah.
If they paid $15.99 for the game and little Johnny really wanted it and then he stuck to it, it'd be different, wouldn't it? Or would it?
I don't know.
Right, anyway, that's enough of your opinions on mobile gaming. They're not valid. And you own a Switch, so, you're a bit biased. You're a bit too biased for mobile gaming. You've already got the best of everything with that machine there, haven't you? You've got your Mario Kart 8. You've got your whole jazz going on. Tom, sacred ground. We are entering Listener Stingray, the place where they all fast forward to hear their piles of retro tat read out live on air. It's a little perk you never thought you'd be able to give anybody. Ponterbroy's thumb is pointing up. He's a fan of Listener Stingray.
Do you reckon he's ever put any antiques in Listener Stingray?
Maybe.
I think he might do next week.
Maybe he might, yes.
When the big man makes a house call, you better be ready.
Whoa. These guys got in touch to show us their pick of Stingray's boot. You can too. Just hashtag Stingray's boot on Instagram or Twitter, or email us at questions@unofficialcontrollerpodcast.com. Tom, as this is the part of the show that most of the fans listen to, is it time to remind them, as they fast forwarded all the way here, shame on you, Oscar, little devil.
Please like, subscribe, and leave a review on whatever podcast format you listen on.
And if you fast forwarded to this point, it will be news to you, but Ponsonbroy's threatened to axe the show. So we're making a run on the charts, and we need our loyal listeners to tag us in everything. The unofficial controller army needs to mount a commando raid on the Apple Podcast charts. We were 13th before. Let's consolidate together. We've got more brothers and sisters than we've ever had. Ever now. And if we unite this army, the episode 21 army, Tom, nothing's unachievable. Now we need work in subscribers, because we've done our research. That's how the charts work. So we need you guys to go out. We need you to pester your grands. We need you to get their iPhones. We need you to go into the podcast app, subscribe to us, and then mute the notifications and put the phone back in her handbag. She'll never know. And together, like this, brothers, sharing pictures on Instagram, sharing our posts on Twitter, making up your own posts and slapping them in your stories. We love it all. We need it all. Ponsonbroy has threatened the end of the show. There'll be no more listeners, Stingray. There'll be nothing. And we need the unofficial controller army to have our backs, to prop us up like two drunken men who've had a little bit too much Japanese whiskey at the bar, and they want another one, and they don't want the landlord to say, you've had too much. Tom, we've done enough begging. Tell me.
First up on Listener Stingray. Sharaban.
Where's he been this week?
He's been to Duckburg with his DuckTales collection on the NES, PS3, and Game Boy.
Ooh.
Very nice. We've got the Unofficial Controller podcast.
Yes, now, loyal fan, Young Digby, has sent in to the Unofficial Controller email, which is questions@unofficialcontrollerpodcast.com, because he's too young to have social media. He sent us a picture of his Skylanders collection. Well
Very
done,
nice.
young man. A thumbs up. That looks like a great little supply. Comic pictures there saying his Skylanders need a new home. 200 of them. Well, if they're going
That's
in the
mass migration.
If they're going in the bin, send them to me. If they're being put up for slave money, no. I can't pay you £200 for a load of Skylanders tat stuck in the pass lane. Possibly my second favourite poster for artistic content on Instagram. He's done a Shenmue post with his... Tom, do you remember Stuck in the Pass Lane?
I do.
Do you remember how he does his shots like Polaroids?
Yes.
Then writes a little thing on the bottom. Yeah. Hang on in there. Why do you think he might have put that? Don't look and cheat, little dog.
I reckon he's going to visit the arcade.
Oh, what's he going to play?
A bike game.
Oh, what a loser you've looked, haven't you? There's the man who doesn't know what Mario Kart is, all of a sudden knows what Super Hang-On is. That's a great post. More of that, please.
I like the artsy shot of the Shenmue box as well at the end. Doesn't look in too bad condition. Looks similar to mine.
Yes, which I'm the custodian of.
Are you?
Yeah. You gave it to me, you
I
donkey.
did, yeah.
Ash Event. He's leaving for a week-long trip to the Gorge. See you all when I get back. Well, take care. Hopefully the Gorge Festival in Washington. One of our American cousins, Tom.
Going to be a 7-day camping trip altogether.
Well, let's hope he decides he's a bit bored one afternoon and decides he wants to break out the Unofficial Controller podcast.
Please spread the word in the US as well, because we have quite a few US fans, but we want more. So
Possibly,
keep
and
up
you're
the good
listening
work.
to possibly the last, best, worst show ever made.
Rad Bash Gaming up next.
Oh, the
today's
hero.
pickups. Watchmen DVD.
That's the book, isn't it, Tom?
Or is it the graphic novel?
the graphic novel.
Oh, my
Perched
mistake.
on a
Darth Vader mug.
mug.
He's got a selection of films there and a few CDs. And Gran Turismo 6.
Yeah, Buffy the Vampire on the Xbox as well.
Three Amigos, the film.
Tom, the game that you don't like to admit is out there. Robin Hood Men in Tights. Ruining your childhood dreams of the Prince of Thieves.
Ozcat, always with some new pickups.
How does he get the games that aren't even in Stingray's boot before they're even out? He's got them all.
Yeah, this is a very fresh post, isn't it? So he's picked up Control yesterday.
Collection of Mana
Yeah,
and Terraria.
yeah, not
Which is
bad. Pickups.
2D Minecraft. Game Boy Matty. Not only is he a young listener of the show, but he's got quite a burgeoning collection there. He's picked up Skies of Arcadia and Power Stone. Look out. No. He's also got some Wii games. Metroid Prime.
It's Metroid Prime 3
House
Corruption.
of the Dead, Overkill
yeah.
2 and 3. Yeah, that's what it is. Super Smash Bros. He's got Jade Empire and Super Monkey Ball and Broken Sword.
Jade Empire, what a game. BioWare,
Hold the press.
classic.
Best game on his fourth slide. Yakuza Kiwami.
I see.
And
So
No
your
Man's Sky.
favourites, it's almost like he's speaking to you on... He obviously is
Well,
a big
as
fan
I
of what
said
you've
to
been
his
playing.
as I said to his father, Dougie McBain, I speak toddler. It's fine. I do believe Yakuza Kiwami might be a little bit strong for Game Boy, mate, but let me get in the way of you having a good time, young man.
Nintendo Brick Gamer. Two great pickups for the PlayStation 2, Shadow of Colossus and Ico.
Both of those look to be the card slip versions as well.
Yeah,
looking
very
at the
nice.
wear on the top left-hand side of
I
Ico.
was an owner once of the Shadow of Colossus cardboard edition.
I've got the cardboard edition of Shadow of Colossus, but I've got a hard case for my Ico. Many
What are
different
these?
variants.
Next one, Dash Event.
Oh, well, you should know what they are because you owned one of these, Tom. Proud owner of a Virtual Boy. Do you remember that?
No,
You had a Virtual Boy.
I didn't. Definitely not. I think I toyed with buying one when I was going through a retro phase.
I honestly believe you had one for about an afternoon, then realised what a dreadful mistake you had made, and went running back down with your receipt and swapped it by that point in time for probably a Street Fighter 2 controller for the PlayStation 2, another console that bizarrely you didn't own, but you needed the controller for. Sharaban. He's been to Killer Instinct. He's bought 2 copies on the Xbox One. He's got one on the SNES, and he's gone and wanged an N64 one right up his yin-yang. Game Boy Nerd. Might be wrong, but have they been on the show?
I don't recognise the name. It may be.
If you have, we're sorry, but if not, welcome to the family.
He's got a nice setup there for his Switch.
He has. He's
got a
been
few-
on
quite a
because
few
I
other
said to him he wouldn't have the space for much longer, and he's
Yes.
got that first little setup. So apologies.
Yeah.
Second week in a row, Game Boy Nerd. You're more than welcome. If we forget your name again, I think you've got a right to write to Lord Ponsonbury and ask for an apology letter. Daddy Zilla. Tom, what's he got?
Thanks for your subscription. He's got himself a retro game treasure box, which comes with The Goonies 2, Mystic Quest on the SNES, Art of Fighting on the Genesis.
Well done there, Daddy Zilla. Nice work. Stuck in the pass lane. Gone and done a bank holiday brawling. He's gone and done himself a Streets of Rage montage.
Yeah.
Brock the 80s dude. Now hold the press. Hold the flipping press. Hold the flipping press.
Wow.
If you're
The
following this, listeners, Stingray, get your phone out, go to Stingray's boot, click on recent, scroll through till you find Brock the 80s dude. That dude's had a haul and a half.
Hero Quest. Look at the.
And I was going to
that
say,
is,
to top it off, the Mastodon on the Mountain Hero Quest.
Good condition that is as well.
The MB
Bocchio
and
hair
games.
VHS.
I've even, if you noticed, I've already been all over that like a rash.
You have.
Ash Event. It's got a picture. He's been in a fire station by the look of it. Another firefighter related game. Do you know what I'm really I want a firefight related game called
Where
Fire.
does he keep all this stuff?
Stop!
He
I'm
must have
making a
lot.
plea.
Sorry,
in fact,
mate,
I won't
sorry.
make any more pleas because we're only
Yeah,
making
we've
one
done-
plea
yeah,
this
we've
week.
done too many.
What's the plea we're making this week?
Like, subscribe, and leave a review.
How much does this awesome show cost
A lot of money.
for them to listen to?
Oh, it's free for them, but expensive for us.
That's a great price.
It is. It's a price we're willing to pay.
It's a price we're willing to pay, and it's a price you're willing to pay. Anyway, I got interrupted, but I'm not going to do the appeal. No.
Moving on. Ash
moving
Event.
on.
Tonka Rescue Patrol on the GameCube, a game I never knew existed. And
A game you never needed to know you existed.
another firefighter related game discovered. And he's got that in there with a what I think is a bobcat with various attachments. A flail,
firefighting attachments.
No, a mulching head and a deck mower, I think. And a shovel loader.
Hello and welcome to the Bobcat Podcast, the official podcast for bobcats. Be it your accessories, mowing,
I wish
flailing.
I worked for a fire service that had a bobcat with a mulcher. That's quite good.
Oh, I heard there was a job going at the local fire station where you get to drive a bobcat, but they haven't got the mulcher, so I guess you're all out of luck. What a loser. Retro Collector Ray. He's gone and slammed in some Studley car boots. He's got himself Finding Nemo on the Cube, Shadow the Hedgehog on the PlayStation 2, Pokemon Battle Revelations on the Wii, and Mario Strikers Charged Football. He's also got Thundercats. Thundercats. Oh.
Sharaban.
Why are you doing
back
that? You're
again.
skipping on. He's got some really awesome stuff. All right, Sharaban can have another shout out. He's been to Little Max and he's played Punch Out. Nintendo Brick Gamer, new listener, new loyal listener. Been in the DMs, slid in the DMs. And
GameCube Lord of the Rings Return of the King, good pickup.
Blast Corps, GoldenEye.
Yeah,
All from the £10 as well. Not only is a new listener,
he knows a bargain.
he knows how to collect games as well. Daddy Zilla. Just when we
Massive
thought
Wii collection.
Just when we thought he had shuffled off, he shuffled back again. What's he got to say for himself? A closer pickup of tonight's trade. That's ridiculous, Daddy Zilla. My God. Every game for the Wii, pretty
and then
much.
a panned out version of it, which basically makes it look like a new seat for the living room.
Wow. Oh, wait, there's more to it. He's just traded 113 games and 2 consoles.
He's a
He's
big time
swapped his
player in the
double-
retro market, isn't he?
I tell you what, in the penny stocks, Daddy Zilla's got 10p. Radbash Gaming, Tom.
I saw this post this week. I really like the Cuphead mug. Very
Keyblade,
cool.
baby. That's what I'm all over, like a rash. Cuphead. What's in that Cuphead box? The yellow one. If that the
I
mugs
don't know. I
to the
don't know
left.
whether that was it's like a Cuphead loot box type thing they do, where they supply various merch.
Hold the press. Guess who's back in town? Oscat.
Is
Oscat's
he?
back. Yeah, got a copy of Moss for the PSVR. He's now broadened his horizons and he's picking up games for every format known to Stingray.
Yeah.
Moss is a game I enjoyed the demo of, and I've kept meaning to get a physical copy.
Oh right,
and
yeah.
play
It did
through.
intrigue me. It looked a good idea.
Yeah, although I feel maybe a little bit like Astrobots come and gazumped it in every single way.
probably
But,
so.
you know, I still remember enjoying it. Retro Collector Ray, again. Excalibur and Alien Trilogy on the PS1. Shadow Man, my favourite, on the Dreamcast.
Original Sonic on the Mega
Yeah,
Drive.
well, looks like is that a genuine? Yeah, a little controller S for the Xbox
Yeah.
One original.
Next up, we've got unofficial controller. Us.
Ah, yes, picture of our
Mumsy
beloved
artwork.
Mumsy.
Yeah, look at her there in all her glory.
If you read the comments, though, a little bit controversial. Where's Daddy Zilla? Wow, Mumsy might be hot, lol.
Oh, low key.
Waist down for sure, I said.
Let's hope he's not sliding into the DMs.
Well, if Lord Bonsabroy doesn't sponsor the show anymore, maybe you could piecemeal sell off his retro collection and help the show stay afloat.
Maybe. Ash Events had too many shout-outs, so you're not having another.
Yeah, no, he is, because that's a beautiful picture where he's arranged golf balls around a copy of Virtual Boy Golf on real grass.
Saturday Morning Gamer with a nice original Xbox collection.
Hold the press. Saturday Morning Gamer, a new listener? This wave of new listeners finally paying off.
Yeah.
Nice pickups.
Think so.
Nice pickups.
He's got a great collection of games there.
Some of those
Project
games...
Gotham Racing.
Yeah.
1 and 2. Halo 2. Sega GT.
Fable.
He's got a few GameCube games in there.
Yeah.
Doom 3. Genema.
He's also picked up a Cube, by the way. And
cool.
a PlayStation 2 with a large selection of Final Fantasy games.
And then an N64.
Oh,
various
wow.
Titles.
And then the picture where he's been hit up in his DMs. Hey, don't know if you remember me, but we met at my mother's garage sale and you said you were looking for older games and stuff. Here's what I got. I tell you what, that lead paid off.
It certainly did.
Who we've got here? Daddy Zilla. He's picked up a bit of game room art by the look of it.
That's cool, isn't it? A very retro Sonic.
Very, very looking cool. Mark.garage.gamers, the man whose parents foresaw not only YouTube but the internet when they named him. He's got Area 51 and Shrek, games of equal mediocreness.
Premier Edition Skyward Sword. Lovely picture.
What's that in the bottom right-hand corner, Tom? Tuckerbot Plus.
Yeah.
Mark.garage.gamers. So good they named him twice. He's in again. Ah, yes. I remember talking about this. He's got a copy of Dog's Life. Right. The game with the best acoustic rendition of Sweet Home Alabama you'll ever hear in your life. Chris McClum's like that. Chris McClum's not crawled out and let us know he's alive, has he?
No.
He's obviously dead. Rad Bash Gaming. Got a collection of Funko Pops. Nice work. Sharaban. Not again. Mark.garage.gamers. Coaster of Destruction Derby and a
classic PlayStation Mini.
PlayStation Mini, call it what you like. Ozcat, but he got himself
Today is
Zelda
a pretty big
action.
day in history.
Ooh.
One of the most influential and powerful game series in history made its way to the US. Very nice. Legend of Zelda.
Maybe we should have done a Zelda retrospective, Tom.
Oh,
Harvey Retro,
could not stand that.
Loyal, tough, hardcore fan of the show with his own YouTube channel. Like what you're doing with your hair in that shot, sir. And the eyebrow raise. I like a well-animated eyebrow.
The people's eyebrow.
And he's got himself, what a lot of people refer to this show as, he's got himself a copy of Balls on the Mega Drive.
He has.
Like Waterford Duck's back. Mm-hmm. It's like working with a brick. Ash Event's got a very underrated game, Heart of Darkness, on the PlayStation. If you scroll through, though, he's also managed to capture his cat's claw. Or dog. It's a cat.
I think that's a cat.
And there it comes. Retro Gamer Thomas, filling up the shelves in PCSO Kemp's back bedroom. He looks like he's bringing in his Master System, Mega Drive, and if my eyes fail me, that looks like his boxed SNES collection. And he's also put another shelf down underneath his games to showcase his favourite duster. Yeah, it looks like it's got a little bit of brasso on one edge, so it's obviously done a good shift in the cleaning cupboard. Jack Rabbit Gamer, new name to the show, but guess what? He's a PSP fan, so he's welcome here from South Dakota. Dakota? Dakota, where they don't like the goater. Sharaban, bringing Tom round sober as a judge with his Metal Gear Solid collection that seems to hold no bounds.
Oh, that's
missing a couple of games on the PSP. Oh no, there's one. Oh, there's the other one. What do I know? I tell you what I know. Nothing.
Yeah, I remember those figurines. They're pretty good. Very detailed.
Ozcat letting us know that he collects for the Vita as well with his X and X2 boxed remaster copies, variants. Very cool to collect those. IO Retro Gamer Dad. He's had a right old haul there. He's got some NES games as well as some Xbox games, including Legacy of Kain. Unofficial Controller Podcast means, Tom,
we've come full circle.
The full turn of the wheel. You still haven't got the phrases right. 21 episodes in. That's all the dips in the boot for our listeners. Don't forget to hashtag Stingrays boot or email us for your pickups to be read out. So, as we say, if you don't happen to have social media, and we don't blame you, you can email us, and we would implore you to do so, because we love the conversation, don't we?
We do.
Tom, you need to distract Ponsellbroy, because he don't believe in pirate video games, and we need to usher Stingray up stealth mode.
Okay, I'll distract him.
What are you going to do? Put it away. Oh, God, whatever. It's time for a peek in what we affectionately call Stingray's boot. What's nestled between some counterfeit nappies and a dodgy copy of Battle for Endor this week. These are the new release highlights for the week August 26th to September 1st, 2019. Listeners, these are out on digital or physical, or will be by the time this podcast's in your feed, but could be region dependent. Tom?
Good week this week.
Can I just say, you distracted him, and then I did the speech, so he's not actually driven up the drive. So, put yourself
Should we go down to meet him for a change? Come on, get your shoes
We
on.
ain't got the sound effect for that.
It's fine. We'll walk down.
What are you doing? Beckon him up. Beckon him up.
No.
Oh, here he is.
Okay. he's
Right,
here.
Tom, one rule from the show, and I'm sure the fans are going to chime in. The first message we're going to get back is don't let him drink again.
The new listeners aren't going to get that feel of how...
Or break show.
Yeah.
This is a make or break show, and you have literally done a full-on Broadway diva, and you've literally thrown us to the dogs. Ponsellbroy, he doesn't even look at me. I'm sorry, boss. I'm sorry. I don't know. We had one chance and we've blown it. Well, listeners, this is where the unofficial control army will come through for us.
They will. It is a good week this week for new releases.
Oh, I completely agree. I want to take this first one because I think
Go
this
for
has
it.
been unfairly getting bad press. Ancestors, the Humankind Odyssey on PC. 486 gaming PCs can also run this thing if they've got the 16-bit graphics up
Is it
there.
out on console as well this week?
No.
Okay.
Pull your duvet back over. I'll wake you up when it's your turn. He's done a thumbs up. Always useful on the podcast. Out on PC, August 27th. Survive your evolution in the Neogene Africa, starting 10 million years ago. Ancestors, the Humankind Odyssey is a third-person open-world survival game where you explore, expand, and evolve to advance your clan to the next generation in the exciting new adventures from the creator of Assassin's Creed. The thinness of my voice at the end suggested I either ignored... I did ignore a comma. Third rate. This game, Tom, has been getting a bit of a beating in the press. I've seen it getting 4s and 5s. Now,
Really?
I haven't had the fortune of playing it
I
yet,
saw a 7.
but I've had the luxury of watching some exclusive playthroughs of this. Mm-hmm. It looks right up my street. It looks like a great game.
Yeah, it does look like your sort of game.
It looks like a really cool game. So I've read some of the reviews, but I'm going to hold off. Hopefully some nice to haves and updates will come through.
From what I saw of it, it said once you sort of mastered the survival element of the game, it's a little bit too easy in a way. But
each time you die, you have to relearn all those skills again.
oh, really?
Until you can hard bake them, I believe, into your offspring, and then it can move forward.
That's cool.
It's not as simple, I don't think, as people realise.
Yeah.
And if they think they've finished the game, I doubt it. Mm-hmm. Next, do you want to have a go?
The Bard's Tale 4 Director's Cut available on PS4 and Xbox on August the 27th. The Bard's Tale 4 Director's Cut is a triumphant return of one of the most iconic RPG series of all time. Delve into tactically rich combat system that rewards creativity, solve puzzles to gain treasure and advantages, and discover a beautifully crafted world. I don't know much about that one, but sounds quite good in the description.
Never heard of Bard's Tale. We'll get that T-shirt as well. Never heard of Bard's Tale, never played
We
Mario
could just do a
Kart
list
64.
T-shirt, couldn't we, with all the games I've never heard or played? It'd be. I don't think we'd fit it on one T-shirt.
It would need to be an XXXL. I can
Yeah.
imagine Devin Zilla probably tripping over that a few times. Mm-hmm. Control. So, which is your mummy this week? Because I'm confused by you. Oh, yeah, I see
yeah,
what you're
you
going to
see
go
mine.
for. Okay, so
You
I'll
take
pick...
this one.
No, I'm going to. I don't want this.
No, as in you can read it out if you
Oh, I
want.
was going to say Ancestors Be My Mummy. I'm going to read out Control. And
Okay.
I told you we weren't going to muck about. I'd made a decent show. Me and James, the work experience boy, worked really hard. I've really worked hard on this script. I've worked hard. Quote unquote. That's a deep cut. Probably from about 2 episodes ago. After a secretive agency, and this is Control. P.S. for PC and Xbox, August 27th. After a secretive agency in New York is invaded by another worldly threat, you become the new director, struggling to regain control. This supernatural third-person action adventure will challenge you to master a combination of supernatural abilities, modifiable loadouts, and reactive environments while fighting through a deep and unpredictable world. Tom, any other day of the week, that would probably be your mummy.
It would. It's made by Remedy as well, who made the great Alan Wake. So
Just the mention of Alan Wake's actually put Lord Ponsonborough's thumb up in the air.
has he?
Yeah.
He's a fan of the game.
He's a fan of Bowie.
He is a sort of aspiring novelist, though, isn't he? So he likes the Alan Wake angle.
Be careful of the character traits you invent for our third-rate fictional characters, because we need to remember what we've said they do.
Okay.
Write that down.
Well,
Ponsonborough's a novelist. Taste of Power on PC, August 27th. Good week for the PC listeners this week, Tom.
Yeah.
All two of them.
On sale.
Taste of Power is a PC game about the confrontation of Europe, China, and Middle East in the alternative world of the Middle Ages. You need to build cities, learn technologies, and participate in large-scale battles, and many unique warriors, artillery, engineers, spies, and much more.
World of Warcraft Classic on PC, August 27th. World of Warcraft Classic is a faithful recreation of the original World of Warcraft. Combat mechanics, original character models, and skill trees all contribute to a truly authentic experience. So are they releasing that again? Just as a re-release?
A faithful recreation, yeah. I think
okay.
they've gone back and remastered it. It looks great. I've heard there's some problems with, obviously, World of Warcraft's big. It might not be on our radar, but it's huge, and a lot of the servers are blocked because they're so full. There's people having to wait hours to get signed in. It's gone off big time, that. If you're a fan of World of Warcraft, you're thinking of picking that up, I would say maybe just wait a couple of weeks for all the John mates who need to have a go on it first to die down, so you can have your hardcore uninterrupted time on your server.
I've heard about this next one, Wreckfest, PS4, Xbox, August 27th. Wreckfest is a demolition derby themed racing game with soft body damage modelling, sophisticated driving dynamics, and in-depth vehicle upgrading. Featuring both demolition derbies and more traditional track races, it's all about fun, breakneck racing, and over-the-top crashes.
Headspun.
Yeah, my mate told me about that. It sounded quite good, actually.
It needs to be a budget release.
Have you seen any footage of it? Because I've not. I didn't know whether it's sort of...
I've seen I think today when I was doing the preparation, I saw a little bit of footage of it.
Uh-huh.
I always just think that these Demolition Derby games, they end up being very light on content.
Yeah, there's only so much you
always
can
wish
do,
the price could follow that through. So hopefully that's coming out at like a $29.99 game. I think it would sell gangbusters if it was.
Yeah.
Headspun, PC, PS4, Xbox and Switch, August 28th. Headspun is an FMV, stroke adventure hybrid set in Cortex, the world of Theo Kavinsky's Broken Brain, a game about recovery, discovery, and the ongoing battle between logic and emotion. Tom,
I'm glad I didn't read that one out.
I think I've just found the back of the box quote for the Unofficial Controller podcast.
An ongoing battle between logic and emotion.
About recovery and discovery. The Unofficial Controller podcast, a podcast about recovery, discovery, and the ongoing battle between logic and emotion.
Steal that tagline. Monster Sanctuary out on the PC, August 28th. Monster taming meets Metroidvania. Collect, train, and battle monsters in a lovely side view pixel world.
Okay, well. Bubsy Paws on Fire coming to the Switch, home of all the crappy mascots. August 29th, from developers of Bit.Trip series comes Bubsy Paws on Fire, the latest and greatest in Bobcat-based gaming.
It's a Bobcat type of week, isn't it?
It certainly is. I'm going to take this as well.
Okay.
Heave Ho on PC and Switch, August 29th. Heave Ho takes up to 4 players with a simple goal. Don't fall to your death. Players will use their own 2 hands and the outstretched grip of their friends to grapple across each level on their way to victory. Tom, before you pick out your very predictable mummy, what's the show, what VHS, movie or series are you going to pull out for us to watch while the listeners go, whoa, that was nostalgic?
I'm picking out Conan the Barbarian and Conan the Destroyer double pack, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger and Grace Jones. A classic action 80s movie.
Grace
and one of the
Jones.
early ones of Arnie's career.
Whenever I'm on a diet, I just slap a picture of Grace Jones on the fridge. Lost my appetite immediately. What a strange individual. Last week we had Xbox Legal on the phone, Tom. I've got a funny feeling we're going to have Warner Brothers Legal on the phone for that one.
We will. Mumsy, please may I have Astral Chain on the Switch?
No, moving on. Blair Witch, PC, Xbox. No, go on then. You can have your moment in the sun with this game for that handheld console no one plays.
This game is getting great reviews. Got to say, Astral Chain on the Switch out August 30th, which is this Friday. Humanity's last chance against an interdimensional invasion is a special living weapon called the Legion. As a rookie officer in the elite police task force Neuron, you and your Legion will work together to solve cases and save humankind. The Astral Chain game gives you full control over two characters at once. The thrilling, synergetic action, courtesy of Platinum Games. Alternate between several Legion types and skills to save the world your way. Astral Chain features character designs by the acclaimed manga artist Masakazu Katsuru and marks the directional debut of Platinum Games' Takahisa Tahura, designer of Nier Automata. Automata. I played that as well. Hideki Kamiya, director of the Bayonetta game and writer supervisor of the Bayonetta 2 game.
I know a new series of T-shirts. I've played it, but I can't say it. Sudoku, Sekiro, Nier Automata,
Nier Automoto,
and Mario Kart. You're very excited about that.
I am. I think you should stand up and pay attention to that a little bit and realise Switch does have good individual exclusives.
Good for a handheld game. Blair Witch, PC, Xbox, August 30th. Inspired by the cinematic lore of Blair Witch, experience a new story-driven psychological horror game that studies your reactions to fear and stress. Can I take the next one as well?
Yeah, sure.
Do you know what,
I'm intrigued by this, so I'd like to hear what you think of it.
I've seen Felix PewDiePie, as we know him, playing a bit of this. It looks, just to carry on the formula, there's not really much to say, obviously.
So this is a follow... Does it follow on from the story of the...
No, it's not anything to do with
Can you tell
Until
me the
Dawn.
title of the original game?
Until Dawn.
Until Dawn. So it's a new sort of story. So do you just pick the choices for these characters, or do you do actually any sort of proper gameplay? Or is it like an interactive book? You know those books I'm on about where you make a choice. And
6 questions. Let me answer the first one.
Yes, sorry.
Oh, it was like you were still talking, and you were like, well, question 5. Right, okay. Yes, it is. It's made by the same people. Supermassive Games. Mm-hmm. It is in the style of Until Dawn, but it is a new story that's a multi-format release. And these ones are being released as little standalone cinematic shorts. So when you play Until Dawn, you do move your character around with a stick as normal, or if you're playing on PC, you use it with the mouse and keys combination. Yeah. You move the character around the physical space. I would say, in a way, it holds very close resemblance to the point-and-click games of the past.
Yeah,
but
Monkey Island, etc.
Yeah, but totally straight-laced within reason, and the story kind of intertwines itself. If you don't save character A, that means all this backfiller in the story that you would have worked out with him isn't there.
It's gone.
And therefore a different route. And with their games, it's normally about saving a group of you and getting you out the end, all of you surviving.
So if you got down and you played the game terribly and ended up with like 1 or 2 survivors, is it a very short game?
It would probably still be the same length, but you would then work out having only 1. So you've seen the ending for 1 survivor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think I've seen the endings on Until Dawn 2 or 3 times. I wish I'd done it with all of the characters, but I haven't.
Should I pick that up?
Until Dawn?
Yeah, it's one of the ones of... When I originally got the PS4, you were recommending me the games, and I think I got most of them. It's one I've yet to pick up, so...
If you've... What I would say to you is, depending on how long you've had PSN... You might find you've got one on there, yeah.
Last minute bit of news: Batman Arkham Knight and Darksiders 3, I believe.
How many of the unofficial controller army are still around to hear that? Do you think?
All of them. loyal till the end.
Tell you the only thing that brings a tear to my eye is people like Nintendo Brick Gamer reaching out and saying, keep good work. And
It does make the
saying,
difference, doesn't it?
It does. Lord Ponsonbury, I have hopes that what we've asked of the fans this week, it'll happen.
He's just giving me death stares, but I'm not making eye contact, so it's not a problem.
You've got that lazy eye.
Yeah.
I think he thought you were coming on to him, so I think he's replaying those advances.
Okay.
Where do we get to?
Tell us about the Dark Pictures.
Dark Pictures, Man of Medan. PC, PS4, Xbox, August 30th. The Dark Pictures Anthology is a series of standalone, branching cinematic horror games that can also be played online with a friend. That's a cool feature that they've added since Until Dawn. In Man of Medan, 5 friends set sail on a holiday diving trip that soon changes into something much more sinister.
The one last question I'll ask you about that game, because I don't feel I've asked you enough. Have you got an idea of price point on that? Is it a budget release? I don't remember it. I don't remember Until Dawn being overly expensive.
It was never expensive.
Yeah.
This will be, I reckon, this will be priced the same.
Okay.
Here's my guess, and we don't normally guess. I'd say it's about £15.
I feel like we should play that through. Some of that would be good.
I'll be well up for that.
Okay.
What you got?
Remothered Tormented Fathers out on the Switch, August 30th. Remothered Tormented Fathers is the pure and realistic survival horror video game. That was a bit of Lincolnshire dialect coming out there.
You too right. Root Letter, Last Answer. PS4 Switch, Europe release. We haven't had confirmation for an American one. August 30th, a mystery adventure which is solved by using 2 visual features, live action and illustrations.
That about wraps it up.
Well, that
I
was
think.
Lord Ponsonbury saying, you better hurry up because I ain't got enough budget for you to have a show this long 2 times in a row.
Has he not?
No.
Wow.
Tom, what are you hoping to play?
Astral Chain, and maybe finish sort of first playthrough of Fire Emblem would be good. I kind of want to get that finished before, but it's the window is closing, as in
Neither of those are going to happen then either, are they?
I just haven't got as much time anymore.
Think of all the times I made time. Now you look back through your memory and you're like, that guy was hardcore.
Come to this midnight launch with us, boy, please. Yeah, okay. And then I'll meet you online.
What is this? This is incoherent rambling.
It is.
The sort of thing a drunken man would do. So you're going to play those 2 games. And
What are you going to play?
I'm going to finish Yakuza Kiwami 2. I'm over halfway through. Surely it's going to drop this week.
And then pick up the
Man of
Dark
Medan,
Pictures.
possibly. And what was that other one? Oh, yeah, that's on 486 Gaming PC. I don't think the green screen's going to run that.
No. Give it a try, though.
Yeah. Tom.
And that's all we have time for you this week, listeners.
No, don't ruin it. Don't ruin it. Rewind. That's all we have time for this week, listeners. As always, thank you for your time. We look forward to the pleasure of speaking to you again next week. Until then, happy gaming. And remember, there's nothing wrong with being given the unofficial controller. It's what you do with it that counts. Tom, hopefully, if the unofficial controller army assembles, I'll see you next week.
In the top 10.
If not, we'll probably meet here again, but without the microphones.
Yeah.
Play games
As we
and
used
talk
to.
about them, as we used to. Lord Ponsonbury, thank you for curating the show. Listeners, we'll see you soon.
Cheers.
See ya.